Welcome to Running in the 70s, where we interview, meet, and get to know athletes of all kind who were running in the 70s. I'm your host, Matthew 𝐒𝐭𝐞𝐯𝐞.
Hi, we're back with Steve Williams as we continue in part 2. This one has a little bit of abrupt ending as Steve's phone battery ran out. And then we'll be back with amazing stories in later episodes.
I want to bring something up here. I want to be clear. Did you never have an agent? Because you did all this.
I take it back. Tracy Sunland, who does the marathons.
Yeah.
I was in Art Simberg's house. Tracy came over and booked me in 2 track meets, and that's the only time I ever had an agent.
I talked to Tracy about a year and a half ago. They lost the world road racing thing that was supposed to be out there. I said, come on back on and talk about that and how that felt. But yeah, okay.
He was the only one I ever trusted. I had sharks around me with all of the meets. Everybody, Philly Pioneer wanted me with him. Pacific Coast Club told me everything that was going on because they wanted me with them. I stayed as the lone wolf.
Let me just do some name dropping. I got to get in here. You and Carl Lewis spent a weekend in a room together, and he picked your brain on this. He's a big personality, big runner, big talent, but what did you tell him? What did you do? Be a Bronx boy? What did you say to him to coach him to deal with this changing world?
When I talked with Carl, this was in '81. This was right after the second World Cup, which was in Rome. And when I spoke, I knew stuff that nobody else knew. So every kid that came up, I used to call them my young guns because it was a gun. I took the gunslinger attitude. Who's the fastest gun? So the young guns that came up, Mel Latney, everybody, okay, Willie Gauld, everybody. Everybody had an agent, so nobody knew what was going on. I was not only that, I got a whole book on the Dazzler brothers that will be here forever on them. But let's get back to Carl.
Okay, yeah.
So we were in a track meet after World Cup in '81, and we was rooming together. That happens, and I told him everything. He says he picked my brain. There was no brain to pick. He just sat there and had to listen. He didn't know anything. He didn't have a clue. None of them had a clue. I told Carl, look, you got multi-events. Realize when the long jump is important to a country. Realize when the 100 is important to a country. Realize when the 200 is important to the country. I got a history in Italy where I refused to run the 200 unless you paid me extra because of Pietro. I was in Jamaica with the Prime Minister. If they didn't pay me for the 200, I would sit it out. So I told Carl how to take each one of his events and use them. I talked to him about the shoe companies. I told him about how you got to be tough with them, make incentives. I had a bet at the World Cup in '77 with the owner of Puma. That's, again, it's a story of its own. So
tell it. Let's hear. You, for people who are probably watching, they just put a 3-part series out behind the scenes of Sneaker Wars of Adidas and Puma. So everybody who's going to know Adi is one of those. Did you make a bet with Adi?
No, this was Adi is the daddy of Adidas. Rudolph is the daddy of Puma. Their sons, Horst Dassler, Adi's son. Rudolph's son was Armin. Okay. I was Puma from a kid. I was Puma because of Tommy Smith and John Carlos, the Puma shoe on the victory stand in '68. I was a Puma man to my heart. I asked the Puma people after I won both national championships in '73, how about some money? They said, we're not paying anybody. I went to Europe. I'm on the train with Dwight Stone. Dwight Stone says, oh yeah, Puma paid me, blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, I knew they were paying the white guy. Dwight told me. After that, I was like, where's the money? Where's the money for me? Okay. In 74, the next year, Mike Larrabee, the great Mike Larrabee, who was Adidas's rep at the time, he comes to me and says, Horst Dazzler is opening on the Champs-Elysees in Paris, the first Adidas boutique right next to Chanel and everything else on the Champs-Elysees. We want you to come. Mr. Dazzler wants to meet you. They fly me over. Now I'm in college now. I'm not supposed to leave. I snuck off for a week in Paris. I get off the plane, beautiful hotel, little. Horst Dazzler, president of the company, takes me on a personal tour. We eat lunch at the top of the Eiffel Tower. He takes me through a tour of the Louvre. We go to the Tomb of the Invalids. We go everywhere. And then I'm walking by a stereo store. I look at the store, I look in the window. A woman comes out. You want that? He wants to buy it for you. Fine. In my mind, I'm not here for no damn stereo. We want to talk something. So, beautiful dinner, fantastic new clothes, Adidas boutique thing. He had some soccer stars, a fabulous event. So, when are we going to get to talk about the money? This gets to be a little off color, but it's part of the recruitment trip. Beautiful dinner the day before the big dinner, and I'm a party guy. I'm a disco guy. Let's hit the streets. I'm in Paris. Let's go. So Mike Larrabee and John Bragg, they take me out to go party. I'm in the clubs. French girls ain't talking to me. I thought the French African girls would talk to me. Nobody's talking to me. Larrabee and them saying, look, Steve, we're tired. We got jet lag. Let me give you a sophisticated discussion. We had a 5-course French meal. And in France, the 6th course is the woman. The woman says yes. They grab me, they put me in a taxi, and they take me to the red light district in Paris. Beautiful girls. I'm from New York, so we know the Times Square scene. We know streetwalker scene, South Bronx. It's that life. I see a beautiful girl. I say, oh, I get ready to jump out to talk to her. They grab me, throw me back in the taxi. 20 minutes later, knock on the door. Beautiful girl comes. We become friends. Olympic style things was going on. So I go back the next day. Larrabee and them were smiling like their son had just become a virgin. They're smiling. I says, okay, I can see that things are moving around. Where's the business? So I got down and I told them I wanted $50,000. They said, Steve, look, we don't pay no more than $25,000 and you can get some incentives. I said, fine, I took the contract. Again, dealing directly with the bosses.
Let me say, $25,000 then is a bigger number now.
Oh,
How long was that going to set you up that you're like, okay, I can coast for a while here?
so that's 74. I'm still running for the school. Okay.
On scholarship, yeah.
Scholarship, laundry money, $265 a month. I had already made more money than that in Jamaica the year before in a one race.
Yeah.
So how much did it set me up? That was 74. I came back after that trip. I lost a race to Ivory Crockett, who happened to have run 9 flat a couple weeks prior. And then I lost to Reggie Jones at the Nationals. I had strained the groin muscle running the second leg because the stop and go, the second leg, the stop and go of it is so
Violent, yeah.
became where I had too many distractions. I had too many women in my life, San Diego, everything. So it came up to the national championship in Westwood, UCLA. I got in the car. I stayed at a hotel separate from everybody. I was double national champion, so I had all this pressure on me. And then I ran 9.9 equal the world record with everybody in the race, turning around, looking, playing around, and it was on.
Did you feel all right? Was everything good in your legs at the end of that second time you won the 100 nationals?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Everything was all right. Okay, yeah.
It was a growing. Sprinting, there's not a sprinter out there that don't have an injury story. Bolt got it. Evelyn Ashford and I sat there and cried over her injuries. It's part of the business. You drive the sports car hard. It's part of the business. 74, I ran the whole season. I ran 10 flat 5 times in Europe. I had beat Pietro in the 200 in Viareggio, Italy, which is another story of its own. Again, a bet. I used to go to the meets and say, because they're talking to me. It's how I felt. I go in there and say, okay, $3,000, and if I don't win, you don't have to pay me nothing. And then there's, oh, no, we can't make that bet with you. You're crazy, but we're not crazy. So I had a bet with a meat promoter in Italy, Primo Nebbiolo, who wound up being the head of the IAAF. This is in 74.
That's probably not on his resume to get the head of the IAAF.
Oh, no. And so he literally, figuratively speaking, at the end of 74, I had not run a 200 in all of Europe. I was still nursing the leg. I didn't want to be on the curve. I ran a bunch of hundreds, great 100s, but no 200s. I get to Viareggio. They canceled the 100 to force me to run the 200.
Wow.
Pietro was feeling jiggy. And so I tell Primo, if you're going to cancel the 100, I'm not going to run nothing. I'll sit up in the stands. He says, 200, blah, blah, blah. And Primo's a big, gregarious guy and stuff. I loved Primo. And I loved all of the meat promoters because we had a personal relationship, good or bad. I said, look, man, I'm here, man. I got to win something. Okay, I'll run both, but you got to pay me $3,000. Oh, no, no, no. I says, I'm here. I got to win something. So he says, okay, 2,500 and 2,500, and you're going to run both, and you're going to just win the 100. Clear as day.
Wow.
You're just going to win the 100. So clear that it was like, oh, you're buying a loss here. Aha. Italian Riviera, beautiful Viareggio. They put, when Pietro's running, the 200 is at 11 o'clock at night. So the Italians can eat dinner late and come. So here it is. I win the 100. I'm like 2.5 hours standing around waiting for the 200, which happens to be now at midnight. Classic crowd, everybody dressed. Italian Riviera, it couldn't get any better. Pietro enters the stadium. Oh, they go crazy. Pietro, Pietro. The same thing. He kills me in the first 100. The beauty of my background was that I was a quarter miler. Some guys talk about it, fake about it. I was about it. I was a quarter miler. I was a 400 guy. So every time in the 200, I'm always going to come and get you. Whether I've given up too much in the beginning, I'm coming to get you. I caught him 50 yards from the tape. I could hear my feet touch the track to snatch the voice of a whole stadium that's in love with one guy. It's priceless. Yeah. I run 20 and 2. He runs 20 and 5. So next I got to get paid from Primo. Oh, Primo's hot. Oh, he's mad. He thinks I sucked him. He thinks I set him up. He thought I hustled him.
Oh, my, that's great.
To him.
I can't believe he thought you would ever not try to win.
Because I hadn't run a 200 the whole
but
month.
not try. If it was there, you were going to do it.
But I had not run anything. I didn't run a 200 the whole summer. I've been there from July to September. I didn't run one at all, so he's figuring out. So I got paid from him, and it was pretty much he paid me to lose. He paid me to lose.
Just jump on a topic. Make sure it gets in here.
Go ahead.
We mentioned the Soviet bloc drug use. What was the chatter about when you're sitting around talking about what's happening in the world and when it's creeping into North America?
In 73, and it became the discussion of, I was in Europe now, that the steroids was big in Europe. East Germany, East German women, everybody see them, they got pimples on their back, they got Cro-Magnon foreheads, puck teeth. It was around. But it was only a discussion for the shot putters and the weight men.
Right.
Because I had coaches, especially Caribbean coaches, that said never pick up a weight. Sprinters don't get bulky. Sprinters, you're supposed to keep your range of motion. When I got hurt, the Jamaicans were saying, "Oh, you're lifting too much weight. You're lifting too much weight." So it wasn't even in the sprint culture.
Right.
It was the heavyweight thing. I used to train with Arnie Robinson. Arnie Robinson used to have ballistic lifting. Throw it up. Throw the weights up, but none of that straight up stuff. It became that in Europe, it was a big thing. Everybody knew, the same way they know now, national program, East Germany, Russia, national program. The Europeans got caught in the crosshairs of this, where if you were a European runner, athlete, competing against East Germans and the Russians, we only seeing them in national meets and occasional invitational meets. But the European championships, you couldn't compete in the European championship if you wasn't doing the gumdrops that East Germany, you couldn't compete. And so that made an explosion in Europe. It made it that they almost had to.
Right.
Almost had to. You had the sympathy for it. That if we meeting them every now and then, you meeting these guys every week, and the championship meets, and they're killing you. They got 5 sprinters running faster than you, than the other guys. And it was all about the drugs. So that's where it really became really prevalent. 1977, we're in Dusseldorf for first World Cup. And before that, I was at a meet in Dusseldorf. And me and Al Feuerbach, I love Al. Al is the gregarious guy. I love the weight men. I love them more than the distance runners, because distance runners was kind of boring. How many laps we going to do?
You're talking to a miler, but go on. You're right.
They kept looking at their watch, how many, taking their heart rate and all that shit. But the weight men were gregarious guys. Me and Brian Oldfield, I got to write a book on traveling with him. Al Feuerbach, Al was like, when it came to being professional and making that money, Stones and Feuerbach and me, we were like, you're going to have to pay us. So we're in a training facility. Dortmund is in the suburbs of Dusseldorf. We're at a bar. We're drinking hard German cider, which I had never really drank before. It tastes good. So me and Al and 2 East German weightlifters who love Al, they're like, we're getting drunk. And the East Germans got loose, start talking. And they mentioned something that I didn't pick up on. I don't think Al really picked up on. But they mentioned, you're talking about failing the test. We don't care about failing the test. We're taking the masking drugs. First time I ever heard the term.
So 77.
Masking drugs.
Have a drink, talk about it. Wow, yeah.
Masking drugs. Didn't even know what the word was, okay? Maybe Al knew, because that was more of the way. I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. And later on, we all know what they're talking about. They didn't even care about failing the test. They took a pill that scrambled the test. They talk about cycles and all that. We don't think about none of that. Everything masking drug, poop. We're good to go. Good to go. So that's some of the historical perspective at that time.
At some point, we want to talk a little bit about technical stuff. About you did a lot of training on your start. After you got to Florida, you had different revelations about what was going to make you the best. You did a lot of short sprints, and by 77, you had won the indoors, right?
I won the indoor. I won the AAU Nationals in '76.
76, the 60.
The 60. I was national champion, but I'd also run 5.9 in the losing. I had my credentials when they talk about all-around sprinting. I say you got to be all-terrain, all-weather. Okay? I was running 5 in Toronto at the Maple Leaf games in the city, beating 𝐒𝐭𝐞𝐯𝐞 at my height. Okay? I run 5.9 in the losing race against Herb Washington. I had won the Nationals in '76 at 6 flat. So I had from the 60 to the 400. I was proud about that part of it, yeah.
Okay, you had the 400 strength, and you'd come back, and you were winning races because of your finish. And now by 76, you got the start mastered.
I ran 9.9 twice in '76. I ran against Harvey Glance and then went in the King Games, and I was ready to go. I ran 9.9, 19.9, which was the best double ever at the time, and then I got hurt. And that killed 76 for me. Coming back in 77 was just like grit. I was determined. I was heartbroken again. I had done too much. There was a point in time in '76 where I should have just sat down. There was a point in '72 where I should have just sat down. Just sit down. Don't do anything. Stretch, get massages, get sports medicine. Sit down. And '76 was heartbreaking, but I was on that breakthrough years. In 1975, I had been taken by Art Simberg. I was with Adidas then, but Art Simberg with Puma and I still were close. I had been taken in San Jose to meet Bud Winters.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to be old as dirt to know Bud Winters. Bud Winters was Tommy's coach, Speed City, San Jose State. He was Carlos's coach. He was Lee Evans's coach. He was the Mecca guy. He wrote the book on the jet start. So he was the god at the time.
Yeah.
Art Simberg said, "You're in San Jose to run this meet. Bud wants to talk to you. Let's go to Bud Winter's house, rustic house up in the hills of San Jose. He's a very rustic guy. He gives me a cup of iced tea and sits me down, and he, in a very coach fashion, proceeds to tell me eye-opening stuff. He says, look, you're quicker than Tommy. You'll have a better finish than Carlos. Okay. You should be running 9.6 hand time 100 and 19.7 hand time. 19.8 on the clock should become regular to you, and 9.8 on the clock electronic should come regular to you. You've got the 400 strength, but the most important thing you have that I can make these predictions, because I made these predictions with Tommy, except Tommy wasn't quick enough, is stride length. You can get faster. The records are out there for you because you can take less steps. Period. I'm telling you this, I wanted to meet you because Tommy just couldn't get quick enough to get the stride pattern to propel him in the 100 and the 200. If he was a little quicker on the curve, he could have done the stuff I'm telling you now.
Wow.
I'm like, whoa, I'm supposed to do this? I'm like, my mind is blown. He shakes my hand, and I run 9:2:20 and 2 the next day, win aided. I'm on the airplane back, and I'm thinking, what can I do to my training? I think I'm training hard enough.
Yeah.
What can I do to my training? This isn't 1975. What can I do to my training? He didn't give me any training tips. He just told me what I'm supposed to be running from what I'd already run. He didn't say, do this, do that. Just here. Find these times. 2 weeks later, I'm in Jamaica.
Were you in Kingston? Where were you spending your time? It's always in Kingston, right? That's the big facility. Yeah.
Always. So 3 weeks later, in May, I'm in Kingston, and Martin Luther King meet, big deal. I'm having dinner with the Prime Minister because the guy who was leading me, guiding me around in Jamaica, a guy named Howard Aries, he said, the Prime Minister wants to have dinner with you. He feels that you had established a relationship in 73 because I came to get that money.
Yeah. Yeah. Those guards probably had a word with him and said, you go have dinner with him so he doesn't come to the gate again. Yeah. That's fantastic.
So I had dinner before the King meet. I had dinner with the Prime Minister. I'm up there with the Minister of Finance, and it's just a lovely dinner. They're talking all kind of government stuff in front of me. They're saying, I don't know whether I should go into this, but they're saying there's $65 million in the Jamaican economy that comes from marijuana, from the ganja. And I'm there, I'm listening. 2 hours later, I'm up in the hills with the Rastas. Like
taking it down a little, yeah.
And they're like saying, this is a real man here. He eating dinner with the Prime Minister, and he here sitting around with the chalice with us. I tell them, look, man, I was just with the Minister of Finance who says there's $65 million worth of marijuana in the economy. They're like, so I became like secret squirrel spy.
Yeah.
For the Rasta Nation. My book is called Always Speeding because in many ways, I was faster off the track. Everybody got one story. I ran the race, I got paid. Well, they didn't get paid, they didn't get negotiated, they didn't have to collect the money, all of the steps, the meat promoters, the shoe company guys. So my story was so thick with the befores, and 10-second race didn't mean nothing compared to everything that was going on around it.
Yeah, the amount of time you spent racing, a hundredth of a percent of all the time.
Everything else. So I'm in Jamaica. This is after Bud Winters tells me what I'm supposed to be running. I decided, after talking to him, man, I need to get back on my 400 training. Brooks Johnson, who was my coach at the time after I left San Diego State, he had me
from Florida.
Yeah, yes.
Florida track club, yeah.
Wound up being the head coach of Stanford later on. So he's calling it in from the phone on my workouts. So I had a workout that I had to do where I had to run 2 400s by myself, maximum rest in between, and it had to be under 47.5, okay? So I started doing that kind of regularly before I went to Jamaica. Then I had run 46.7 by myself. I says, oh yeah, I got the strength. I get to Jamaica, I'm thinking about what Bud Winters is talking about, and I says, put me in lane 9. I don't want to see nobody. I don't need to see anybody. Put me in lane 9. Put me in lane 9. I'm with some Adidas experimental shoes. I run 19.9. Quarry running 20.2 right behind me. That was the stadium record in Jamaica for many a year. That was the first time 20 had been broken in the Caribbean. Okay? When everybody talks about, oh, the Jamaicans, I says, ask them who had the national stadium record for a while. Okay? Claude Yankee boy. Okay?
Yeah. Also, you won the French national championships. You won the British.
Yep.
You left a lot of people.
So back to Jamaica. So here it was, 19.9 and 10 flat. And I'm thinking about Bud Winters. And Brooks is saying, yes, 19 is supposed to become everyday thing. So while I'm in the Caribbean, they swing me down to Trinidad. I get down to Trinidad. Hazley Crawford, who I love so very much, he's a big shit talker man. He's a big rod. He's a shit talker, which I liked because I'm from New York. I said, yeah, let's get it going on. So we're down in Trinidad. I'm getting into the Trinidad, the steel drum music. It's just a lovely, I'm like on vacation compared to Jamaica with 60,000 in the stands. This was a small stadium, small town, me and Hazley. Hazley talking stuff so bad. He's wearing me out everywhere we go. So we're in a bar. There's a book that could be written on the sprint psychology. How you psych guys out. You can do this, but you can't have it take. You can't psych them out and distract yourself. You can't put so much effort in psyching them out that it takes you away from your game. Okay. So we're out, we're drinking, we're having a good time the day before the meet. And he's talking so loud, so bad. I leave the table, I go over to the bartender, beautiful Jamaican girl, red hair, freckles. I'm trying to get with her. And then I say to her, if you wanted to insult a Trini man, what would you say? How would you insult him? And she smiles and she looks over at Hazley. He's far away. She says, oh, you called them a scrunter. I said, a what? A scrunter. I said, what's a scrunter? She says, a scrunter is a man who always tries and never succeeds. I said, thank you, okay. We're at the stadium. We're warming up. We get ready to take our pants off. I get close to him. I says, yo, man, you're a scrunter. Oh, my God. He wasn't thinking about racing now. He was thinking about fighting now. Okay. And Hazley is this big burly guy. Oh, man. He takes off. He gets out. I catch him. I was so casual. When I see the race, I couldn't even believe it was that fast. I was so casual because I knew I was going to catch him. And I catch him at the tape and I look at him. We both run win-aided 9-8. First time anything lower than 9-9 had happened in any condition anywhere. And the crowd goes crazy and Hazley's upset. And then he's supposed to run the 200. He doesn't run the 200 because he knew I just won 19 in Jamaica. He don't want to get extra embarrassed. And so that was that.
That's great. Yeah, he's the first Trini gold medalist.
Yes.
I think he was at the Olympics. Yeah. He was a big national hero. Yeah, another national hero.
You had Edwin Robertson. You had Cayenne and the guys before that were medalists. But Hazley was the first. So after that night, me and Hazley and Charlie Josephs and Arthur Cooper and Rudy Reed, all my UTEP guys that were from Trinity, they're down there. We go out, we're partying, we're liming and fetting in the street, we're eating food. I eat some food from a street vendor called a roti. Didn't think anything of it. Get back to America. Then I get an invitation to come run up in Oregon for the Twilight meet. I'm in America, I'm in LA, I've stopped in LA, and I said, I'm gonna party in LA, then I'll head up to Eugene. I hear that Steve Prefontaine dies. I'm in LA at UCLA track training where everybody comes around. Prefontaine dies. I had traveled with Pre all over the world. We had drunk together, everything together. He was another one fighting for the money. He was the distance man that was fighting for the money. He was fighting for the money before I came along. Okay, he was always fighting for the money. It's a very sad scene when we all come up to Eugene. Pre had died. I still want to run good. I win the 100, 9-2 win-aided. Me and Quarry break Tommy Smith's record of 19.9, 220 yards. I'm
Right.
out in lane 9 again. I'm winning the whole race, and at the last step, Quarry sticks his head in. We both break the record, and it was fantastic. So then after that, I lost. I was feeling weak. I lost the nationals. Then I lost 3 meets in a row to Quarry, and then I was running like terrible, and found out that I had gotten a parasite from eating the roti in shrimp.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Shrimp roti. Don't eat seafood from a taco car. Okay, that's the lesson. So I'm in Europe running terrible. I don't know what's happening. I'm talking to Horst Dassler. He's saying, go home. Go home, see a doctor. Don't hang around Europe. Go home. I head home, and I've got a parasite. Small intestine, large intestines. They give me huge sulfur pills to take. He says, you're not going to be full power for another 2 months. I said, I got to go back to Europe next week. I go back to Europe, and I tell Brooks how weak I am, and he says, look, he said, stay low. Don't pop up. If you're having stomach stuff, stay low. So I'm down, I'm running lower, not popping up. I run 9.9 in Siena, Italy. Still thick as a dog. First 9.9 in Italy, in Europe, big deal. I had an undefeated season after that. Beat Quarry enough where I regained #1 in the world in the 100. Beat him enough times where he still had #1 because he was more consistent in the 200. So that was 1975. And again, it kept in my head what Bud Winters was talking about. So I had no surprises. Every time it was a fast time, it was like, oh, okay, we're in Zurich, 75. Borzov decides to show up. We're in a press conference. I'm growling at him again. I'm standing close to him again. The Russian handlers are keeping me away from him. We were in the dining area. I try to get close to him. They're like, oh, no, no. We're in the qualifying rounds together. He and I run like 10-1-1 in the qualifying because he's in the heats. I wanted to stomp him out right then. Then we get to the finals. He's in the lane next to me, and I'm focusing on him so much that Steve Riddick on the outside runs the fastest 100 of the time. He runs 10.05. I run 10.07 for second, and Borzov was like 10.11. The fastest, like, at the time of the era was Steve Riddick running that race. And
Yeah,
I'm
wow.
so upset because I'm focusing on Borzov, and Riddick is doing what he's supposed to do, run his ass off. 2 days later, we're in Berlin. Pouring rain in Berlin. I recently just got the film footage of that, just maybe 6 months ago, and it's pouring rain. We're running the 100 in the pouring rain. The hurdles are right before us. The Frenchman, 𝐑𝐮𝐧𝐧𝐢, runs 13 flat in the pouring rain. I'm talking about our fingers were covered with the rain when we got down in the starting blocks. If you see the film of it, you're like, wow. Being from New York, I had been running in inclement weather my whole life. It was no big deal to me in one respect. And one of the things you do is keep your shoes dry. Don't put your shoes on to the last minute. Put the shoes on the last minute. And then I had this thing, I was a big reggae man, and Bob Marley said, some people walk in the rain and other people get wet. And I decided I was going to walk in the rain. I wasn't going to get wet. I run my 4th 9.9 in the pouring rain, and Quarry and Riddick and everybody like fall behind. I got a good start and it was off to the races. When it told me what time it was, and when I got the medal from a very famous German sprinter, Manfred Germar, who was famous from the 60s, tall guy, he walks up to me and says, I don't believe this. You look like you was walking. Don't believe it. I had to go to the timers and ask them. He said we even had the 3 digits. We only have the hand time, the 2 numbers. Even with the 3rd digit, it was 999. And only in my mind was, these times are nothing. This is, Bud Winters told me what it's supposed to be. I'm still underperforming in my mind. So just like I said, every moment of the day in Berlin, I was working with Horst Dassler with Adidas designing shoes. I'm looking at the shoes you have behind you. I was working with, some of my designs became the Adistar shoe.
I ran in the Adistar 2000s.
The Adistar shoe,
Yeah.
my 1975 and 74 designs with Horst Dassler. Horst
Nice.
Dassler used to give me extra money to talk about the shoes. I was in Germany at the factory. I was at the French factory. I'd have technical meetings where the French guys was on one side, the German guys was on the other side. I'd say what I wanted in a shoe. The French guys would look at it from the aesthetic point. The German guys would look at it from the hardcore technical side, okay?
You got some patents. Are those patents in Germany?
I was part of, they patented the Adistar off of some of my input.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted the shoes to put me up on my toes. That's why in the Adistar they had the crowns where the crown was thicker and the midsole tipping you forward. That's because that's what I wanted in the shoe. Okay. And I would test the shoes. I tested the shoes in Jamaica when I ran 19.9. There was some sand on the track that pretty much erased the plastic bottoms. I called Horst Dassler and I said, Horst, the plastic on the bottom, I erased it. He said, what are you doing? He says, I pay you to win races. I don't pay you to always test the shoes. That's how the personal relationship that I had with these guys was, like I said, a whole story. There was a shoe wars. I'll be here all day on the stuff with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can tell you, if you haven't seen the new series, they've got Noah Lyles on there a couple times saying, my job's not to win races. It feels like it's to sell shoes.
That's what it is. That's what it is. But Horst Dassler says to me, I don't pay you to test the shoes. I pay you to win the races. So in Berlin, I was wearing another experimental shoe. He calls me up. He's gone crazy. You run 9.9 in the rain. I told you don't be testing them shoes, okay? And I said, hey, it worked, okay? So I got a nice bonus. I made money just because of our relationship, me and Horst Dassler's relationship. That wound up being another story in 76 that is completely mind-blowing. Again, faster off the track than on the track.
Let's just jump to some more aspects of you. You wanted to major in English. You ended up in journalism, media, and you wrote. Your personality comes through. Everybody talks to you. It's Steve Williams. He's there. He's been there. But Beating, this movie script you wrote, how much of that was reality and how much of it was storytelling to make a movie? I haven't seen the script. I've just heard that they call it the Animal House version of track and field.
When I retired in 84,
You had 10 years as a professional runner. What brought you to say it's time to get off the ramp?
it's, you wear out the wheels. You wear out the wheels. I had 2 pulled hamstrings. I'd pulled the groin. In 84, I was limping around on Achilles. I had 2 surgeries on my ankles. I had it's not presidential, but I had bone spurs, okay? In my ankle, okay? So I had enough. I've been running on hard surfaces. People don't realize the beauty of these fantastic tracks now. That's not only about how fast you can race, but how comfortably you can practice. So I was worn out. And so I just stopped. And when I finished, I had too much to tell. And I wanted to tell it, but I didn't want to make it an autobiography. At the time, Miami Vice was the black-white buddy movies.
Right.
But then I watched North Dallas 40.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And I said, track needs that North Dallas 40 story. Track needs it to be told. So I wrote the story as a buddy story, telling it from Steve Prefontaine, a country boy running distances, and me, a city boy, and we become roommates in college. We have that friction between us, but then we become friends and buddies, and then I tell everything else. I dramatize the drug stories. I dramatize the money. I just tell it all. I tell it all in a dramatized fashion, just to be able to tell what I wanted to tell without indicting anybody.
Yeah.
Interesting part of it was I went and shopped it to the BBC because Chariots of Fire had just been done.
Right.
They shot it down. They were nice about it. And then I took it to one of our most famous track men, Bill Cosby. I sat up with Bill Cosby in his studio.
Okay. Did not plan to make that a cliffhanger, but we will be back with Steve Williams. There's lots more to tell, especially about the Adidas Puma battles and the shoe battles and the drama that unfolded in 1976 in Montreal. Come back for more in the next episodes with Steve Williams. Enjoy.
Hey, do you have someone you'd like to hear interviewed on the podcast? You can leave a comment on the YouTube channel or on the website, running70s.com. That's running70s.com. Let me know what you think of the episodes and anyone, including yourself, you'd like to hear interviewed.
I hope you enjoyed another episode of Running in the 70s. Voices, stories, and memories of athletes who were running in the 70s. Until next time, wherever you are, keep looking forward and don't forget to look back.